Sometimes you just want to talk about pinball. And the best thing to do when you just want to talk about pinball is you call your friend Gene X Wong and you talk about pinball. So that's what episode 247 of Coast to Coast Pinball is going to be. Me calling Gene X Wong. Hope you enjoy it. Let's go. Welcome to Coast to Coast Pinball. My name is Nate Shivers. This is a podcast. It's a commentary. I am a man out of quarters. How are you doing? Coming to you not live from Amsterdam, the Netherlands. Here we are on a Monday night, February 4th, 2019. Welcome. I have just finished what is this? This is a Zone Perfect dark chocolate almond nutrition bar with 12 grams of protein, if you're interested. I have consumed 3 Pepsi Max Gingers tonight. Those are zero sugar, sure caffeine, ginger-flavored, sugar-free Pepsi drink they got here. It's great. I love it. So I had a show planned. I was going to, finally be the last podcast to talk about the Munsters. I thought that would be my badge of honor. And I had notes going, and then it dawned on me, I should just call Gene X Wong, and we could do that, and that would cover everything. So that's what I did. Here we go. Calling Gene X Wong. Unedited, start to finish. Maybe one little tiny edit. Gene X Wong, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
I think I'm good. This might actually be working. Should I buy... The show started, by the way. Should I buy a Shadow pinball machine? Yes or no? You have one, right?
It's a great game. It's super fun.
For home? Will I get tired of it?
I don't. So here's the thing. I don't know how your situation might be a little different because of there's not as much places to play out there. But I don't play mine as much, mostly because I like to play it when I have friends over, and I don't I like going out and playing more. But I do enjoy it every single time I play it because it's challenging. You can set it up hard. You can do a lot of different. You can practice different kinds of skills because it's got the upper flipper, so that that shadow loop is pretty challenging.
Yeah, I'm really bad at those shots. Yeah, I'm terrible at those.
Me too.
That would be a good thing for me.
Yeah, because it's got a couple shots with that flipper. I guess technically it's got maybe 3 shots really, but 2 real ones. It's you can set it up brutal. It's kind of a mean game anyways, which I like because I don't want to have I like Lord of the Rings and that kind of game, but I don't want that at home when I'm I'm going to play a couple games before I go to work or something. And it's okay, it's an hour later, and it's so.
Totally.
I do like Shadow.
Yeah. Huh? Because I'm going through the classified ads here in the Netherlands, and that's one of the games that's been sitting here for sale, and it's it's a little expensive. It's $3,000. That's too much money, but it looks like it's in good shape, and I'm thinking I could just go buy that tomorrow, and then I'd have a pinball machine in my apartment, which I currently don't. Or here's my other option that I'm looking at.
Okay.
Oh no, are we losing each other?
Yep.
You're all the way across the world right now.
No, just a little bit. I know. No, it's fine. It was just a little bit for a second. You know how it gets that kind of mushy sound, but I
blame San Francisco. The other thing I'm looking at is this awesome listing on this Dutch website called Marktplaats. So on Marktplaats, there's a listing here that says very weird pinball machine, full throttle with 27-inch LCD. I think that's hilarious.
Yeah, that's a pretty accurate description, I'd say.
Very weird pinball machine, full throttle. So that's, of course, Google translated into that. I don't think that's what I need in my life right now. And there's also a broken Zachariah Pinball Champ 82 for $500.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, for those options, I would definitely go with Shadow. Shadow's a great game, and I heard they're going for a lot more, actually. I don't know, here, California's always worse, but my friend Rebecca was just in town, coworker friend, and she, she's big into pinball. She lives in Chicago, and she was saying, they're going for a lot more now. I guess they're trending up-ish or something, but maybe even because Brian Eddy's new game's coming out or something. But
that could be it. You know what? I think we're bullish on the Shadow, I think is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. All right.
Yep.
Okay. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. I'm great. Just I'm almost played too much pinball yesterday. It was like one of those days, or the Super Bowl's going on, but wasn't really. I didn't really care that much. I was like, I'll watch the commercials later, and then I get all these texts about the pinball commercial. I don't know if you saw the Supra pinball commercial.
I did. Yeah. I saw that, and I saw the other pinball commercial.
There was two?
Well,
or the old Toyota one.
Well, no, there was our friend Kaneda with the Big Lebowski tie-in to his Stella Artois. Yeah. It was like pinball on display. I see my friend Kaneda. I don't know if he's your friend. I need to be careful when I assume that everyone's friends with Kaneda. Sorry.
I don't actually know him personally, but
I'm kidding, Chris. So that's cool. Pinball is like, you and I were talking about this was that January? That was the first couple days of the year when I was in San Francisco. Pinball got like popular at some point.
Yeah, I know. It's like it's trendy somehow. It's like there's a Facebook group of like pin spotting, and it's in a lot of things in the background at least, and you see it at like expos for other events. Like at the Comic Cons, a lot of people are bringing games. Or I saw somebody posted some, maybe it was Stern that posted some picture of a couple games on AT&T Field. If I don't know the name of the stadium in Dallas, but
sure.
You start seeing it more. Like I see it too. Yeah, and I've seen them more like at events too. Like some like doing my job. Covering corporate events, and sometimes they'll have pinball, and then I always have that weird thing of where I want to play it, but I'm working, so I'm trying. Usually I'll try to maybe stay at the end and just kind of get a couple games in if I can, because usually the high scores are set low, so it's kind of fun to put up initials if possible. So.
Yeah, well, and like I see pinball in airports, I see pinball all the regular places, obviously, but just more of it, and the whole like pin spotting in media. I remember like 5 or 6 years ago that used to be a big deal when we'd see a pinball machine. It was like, oh, did you see the game? Now I don't even call it out because my friend's like, yeah, I know pinball. You like pinball. You're a pinball guy, so it's all over the place.
Yep.
Man, I'm so jealous of your options to play pinball there in the Bay Area. It's pretty fantastic, I must say.
We're definitely lucky out here. So actually, like there's the South Bay area where it's kind of like Silicon Valley. I'm going down there for work later today, and so I'm kind of planning to drop by a couple spots if I can. If I can kind of leave a little early to quote unquote beat traffic.
I heard those people ruined your city, is what I was told.
The tech people, yeah, that's the complaint. That's why the rents are so high and all this. So it is. It's always been an expensive city, and it's like ridiculous now. Okay. I think every once in a while they have an article about how terrible it is.
So, let's put this in perspective, because everyone says that San Francisco is expensive, and lately I've been hearing how dirty it is. I didn't see it as that dirty, but maybe I wasn't looking close enough. How much would it cost someone to move to San Francisco and get a 1-bedroom, 1-bath apartment in like San Francisco proper that is like not slums that you could like live in and be happy in?
I think you could I think my downstairs neighbor rented her place out, and it's decent-ish. Or decent, yeah. It's like I live there too, and I think it's for like $35 or $37.50 for a 1-bedroom. In the nicer neighborhoods, it goes up higher, but I'm in a decent neighborhood, so yeah, like that's probably if you have a budget of $3,500 for a 1-bedroom, you can probably find something that's decent. And if you got lucky, maybe for less. And then if you want to live in a fancier place, you'd have to spend more. So
$3,700 a month. Okay, hold on. Let me see. $3,700 times. We're doing math with Nate here. That's $44,000 a year to live in your beautiful city.
So two Beatles diamonds, I guess.
2 Beatles diamonds, or like a really big house in Iowa. Like, wow.
Yeah, I know.
Wait, where are you from? Aren't you from like Arkansas?
Alabama. I grew up in Alabama.
Sorry.
Yeah, much cheaper real estate there.
Yeah, I was gonna say like you $44,000 a year would get you quite the rental.
Yeah, you could probably buy.
That's insane. That's absolutely insane.
And that's what's interesting with the location play, because for a city where the real estate is expensive, places that are providing, because pinball on location is supposed to make money, right? Or it'd be part of a business that is going to, provide some income to it or provide bodies.
Yeah.
And so that's always our challenge when we're trying to, encourage new locations to get pinball, because a lot of times the business owners are looking at it like, how much money can we make per square foot? And pinball doesn't always sound like the best for the machine itself, but then you're like, yeah, but the players are going to come in and buy drinks and this. And so it's something where, as we all are trying to build our scene more, that's a challenge, which I'm sure is in a lot of the major cities where the real estate's expensive. It's like, how do you get location pinball to grow? Because I really like to support location pinball. I like playing out. You can find new players that way more because, random people kind of come across it. When you're going to a show or someone's house, you already have some sort of, interest in it, where when people find them in the wild, it's great to see people going like, oh my God, like this game, I used to play it back in the day, or I can't believe they still make these or whatever. So it's great to see like new blood, getting interested in pinball too.
See, that's the difference between you and me. When I see you, and I saw this happen at Free Gold Watch, you just look like a nice guy. People just walk up to you and are like, hey, let's play some pinball. People see me, and apparently I look like I want to kill them, so they just walk away and walk around me. So you get to meet all these fun pinball people, whereas I'm just scaring children. It's kind of it's
well,
odd
maybe
thing
they heard about that Southern Fried.
No, how dare you remember that? Ay. Do you know, I looked this up before I called you. Do you know the first time you came on Coast to Coast Pinball? Do you have any idea?
I don't know when it was exactly.
It was May 7th, 2000. I wrote it down. I can't read my own writing. That's really bad. It was a long time ago. We were talking about Kiss Pinball being released, and your friend from IGN was with you.
Sammy, yeah. Okay, yep.
So whatever that was.
Yeah, he's the one that operates a lot of the pins over at Free Gold Watch. Like when we played, I think Pirates is his, and Wizard of Oz, and he always gets the Jersey Jacks as well as other pins too. But yeah, he's still at IGN, and they're still doing those releases. So it's kind of cool that we have a guy, locally that has that. He can't, say anything. Obviously, he won't even tell any of us. But that's cool, because that's what he's supposed to do.
Yeah, it was episode 162 on May 7th. 2015. This European thing, I can't read a date anymore because I don't know if the month or the day's first, and I have to stop and think because they do it backwards over here.
Oh yeah, I know. That always confuses me, especially when it's a low numbers, right? Like
5-7.
Like
I'm sitting there staring at this going,
like,
I
which
can't
one
tell
is that?
Yeah. And the problem is they're right. Like we're right about some things, but they're actually right over here. Smallest like day first, then month, then year. That makes more sense. But we do it like you say it. You say March 5th. So that's the way we write. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. It's so different living in Europe. Blah blah blah. I know. So you mentioned Pirates of the Caribbean. I really like that game. I had a lot of fun playing that game. I didn't really know what we were doing. Have you figured that game out more since like a month ago?
Not as much because I haven't played it as much, but I do enjoy it, and like it does help to have friends, that can kind of like coach you a little bit. And actually at league night, one of the guys that hadn't been to league this season, it just started up, he was like asking me about it, and I was like, here, like we were playing before league started, and I was just kind of explaining to him the super basics of like, if you hit the main shots enough, you get a multi-ball, and then you can bring in the other ones, and kind of that basic part, and start the mode at the middle and such. And so just doing that made it pretty fun. And we both had really good scores just doing that. And so it is fun. I don't really know too much from the modes. It's kind of fun that if you do get it up on the top rocking boat side to try to load the cannon. But even just being able to kind of do the basics is fun because of you can stack all the multi balls. It's pretty like pretty much if you get one and you focus not on just the same shot away, you can probably get at least one more stacked in, and if not, you're going to be close to it, and if not, get all 5 going or something. So it is fun. It's after you kind of get a feel for the shots, I think and then someone maybe tells you kind of the super basics of what to do, it can be pretty fun. Like I think initially people were just too confused because there's a lot of depth to it. And I know I felt that way too. I was kind of like, I don't know what I'm doing. It's not that fun. But as I played it more, I've been liking it a lot more. Like, I've been playing Waz and Hobbit because they were in Selfie League, and I like them okay, but I really like dialed in. It's still my favorite Jersey Jack, and I'd say Pirates is probably number 2 right now.
Yeah, Pirates, you showed me some of the basics, and it instantly was better for me because I kind of knew what I was at least attempting to shoot for. I do really like the idea in the code of that game where you can have different advantages by choosing different players. So when you're playing like a multiplayer game, it's kind of awesome because you can choose somebody who might have advantages to shots that you like or you feel comfortable with, or just schemes in the game. I don't know. I think that's really, really neat. I think that game it looks great, and it has interesting shots, and it does have some interesting geometry. And I think you're exactly right, though. It's like, it's one of those, once you get comfortable with the shots, you can start to build some repetition up, and the game feels more comfortable. And it doesn't feel like a wide body to me. That's what I like about that game.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the nice. I think that's why I like it better than the other two Jersey Jacks, because it doesn't have that kind of, like, Hobbit's way too open for me and feels like everything's kind of far. But that game, there's some tight shots on, like stuff that's kind of closer in. And then, yeah, it doesn't feel as wide. I think maybe, I don't know if it's that left side doesn't, because you could shoot all the way to that left spinner shot, but I feel like it doesn't feel super wide, which is kind of nice. I mean, I don't have anything against, wide bodies per se, but sometimes they feel like there's just like too much lateral movement. And
totally.
I don't get that.
That's why I always like Twilight Zone, because yeah, it's wide and there's a lot going on, but it was tight in spots, and you kind of had shooting lanes you were working with.
Yeah, like you don't really shoot the left through the pops to get the dead ends. Like no one really does that on purpose.
No, Lawler choked that off pretty smartly over there. So
yeah.
Okay, I'm just jumping around because we're just having a conversation. I haven't said one word on Coast to Coast Pinball yet about the Munsters. I had, like, here's what an idiot I am. Like, I had Dwight Sullivan all lined up to do an interview, and then he was at CES. I was traveling and just couldn't do it. And then there were so many good interviews with him with other people. I was just like, do your thing, Dwight. I'm in the way. And I really wanted John Borg to do the show. John didn't want to do phone calls. John doesn't like that stuff, so we didn't do that. I watched the Dead Flip with the premium reveal and Jack Danger with Dwight. It was actually the Dwight Sullivan show, which I thought was incredibly entertaining. I don't know did you see that or not? Did you see him go through the premium?
I saw parts of it. I was I didn't get to watch it completely because I had some work stuff I had to do, but I was popping in there and kind of checking it out.
So I was like really happy to see how happy Dwight was about that game. Like, a lot of his energy was kind of coming out on that, and I really like that. Is there a Munsters on location anywhere you are right now?
There is. There's one in the city that I haven't played yet, and there's another one down in the South Bay. But I haven't had a chance to play it at all, unfortunately. But yeah, like watching the people, playing it looked fun, and there was like a lot of enthusiasm. And the people I've talked to said, because like everybody's like, "What's the first impressions?" And the folks that because these are pretty much like super nerdy pinball people that I'm like in our local pinball Slack channel, and they're all like, it's fun. It's like it's easy to kind of like get right into, because I think that was the challenging thing with Pirates was like at first maybe it wasn't fun because you didn't feel like you were getting anywhere. Where Munsters, I think they were saying purposely is kind of like Dwight's approach was try to make it a little more friendlier to beginners and have, I forget the term he was using, like the path, like like being able to get quickly into stuff. And I think that's been happening because people are like, there's a lot of initials on the game, and people are all like, would post their scores with their initials. And I was like, oh, this is like, I like that too. That makes a game accessible when there's like ways to put your name up for more casual people too. And there's lots of little, I don't remember what all of them were, but the different categories for different, like, I don't know if they're modes or shots or whatever.
Totally.
But yeah, everybody I've talked to has, been having a lot of fun with it, saying it's kind of easy to grasp. They already, people are talking about how the zap button works, because I kind of purposely, since I didn't see the full stream, I was like, I'm not going to go back and watch, all these archive streams. I'm just going to like go out there and start playing it and just have fun. And kind of, I enjoy kind of figuring out games with friends as, we play the new games. And it's kind of it's kind of like that's part of the discovery of a new machine for me, at least.
And it's pretty great that we get to do that with so many different games. I really liked the way Dwight wrote those rules. I thought there was some good stuff in there about adding jackpots and the risk reward stuff's definitely built into that game. I thought you're right. You can start the Herman multi-ball really fast. It's like right there for you. I think all that stuff's really good. I'm excited. How cool is it that they actually went black and white on a playfield too?
Yeah, that was pretty cool, because I think a lot of people had seen that Twilight Zone, which was probably the closest thing to that aside from maybe like Centaur ages ago. But like, seeing that and how it makes sense for that show, because like that show was black and white, and it's just it just looks really neat. Like, I know that there's some people who are like, oh, it should be like completely black and white, but I'm like, you can't actually do that. I guess you could with clear inserts and color LEDs, but like, ultimately you do need to have like color changing LEDs are amazing. Makes understanding the game so much better. So, a little bit of color doesn't bother me. I'm not like 100, super purist about like, oh my God, they got to keep it like 100%, black and white. I think it looks pretty amazing. I actually like that package kind of the best just because it's so different,
Me too.
from the other ones.
Definitely me too. I agree. I haven't watched an episode of The Munsters in like, let's see, how old am I? So probably close to 30 years, maybe 30 years. And as soon as I saw some of the stuff on their display, it took me right back to how weird and fun, but yet as a kid, kind of creepy that show was. And I think the whole black and white thing just really adds in, and I like it.
Yeah, it was so weird. Like, you know how like the rumors for that were out like a long, long time ago. And when I first heard, like, how you can kind of like tell when rumors are facts, but but the companies never kind of admit to them until they officially make the announcement.
There's like 2 dudes on Pin side who always want to spoil it because they know somebody and they think they're a cool guy. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. But it was weird to hear that as a potential theme like a year or two ago, because I was just like, Munsters. I'm like, how relevant is that? It's like, it doesn't seem like the best idea, but like, it's funny how, I mean, we're pinball people, so we're probably like, we like I kind of like all pinball, just because it's pinball. It's nice that they're making it still. So,
totally.
But then you see the game and you're like, wow, this is just like, it makes a lot of sense as a theme, because I'm like you, like I did watch that show a little bit, but I kind of don't really remember it. Probably when I play the game and I see the clips, I'll start remembering. I'll get little flashbacks to watching that show. But yeah, like it's funny that it translates really well, and I think that comes through because I remember hearing, I think the interview with Borg they did on like Special Unlit, and he was talking about it's like his dream theme. It's like, okay, so that's probably another reason they got it.
Wait a minute, so Borg did do a podcast? Oh, I'm gonna jump off a bridge.
Well, he was there, I think, in person.
Kidding. I know.
Yeah,
it was different. I know. I'm just. I actually listened. It was very good. I like that show a lot. You know why? I think The Munsters is awesome because it's really just the monsters. It's just a monster story with backstory already built in, with video assets already built in. I think that's really smart. Like, who cares? Like, if you're 20 years old and you don't even know what The Munsters is, it's just a made-up original theme for you. It's just a story about this family that are monsters.
Yeah, I know. That's kind of interesting, right? Because, like, I think for younger people, they'll be like, oh, what is this? This is just like something they invented, just like Black Knight 2000 or Attack from Mars. These aren't like licensed properties or anything, and they might just think that as well. And those obviously worked well in the past with, Medieval Madness. I mean, they're all kind of takeoffs on other things, but still, this could be, people might think, oh, this is like kind of like Monster Bash, but not. But then, some people will be like, no, this is like an actual TV show.
We're the old people now going, no, man, this was a show back when I was a kid. Dude, I won't reveal your age because that'd be rude, but like when you told me how old you were, I was like kind of in shock because in my head you were just like and you're not much older than me, but like you're like the youngest blankety blank I've ever met. How do you do that?
It's just the Asian blood. I'll eventually become super old because you know how you never see. Like you'll see like in those martial arts movies, there's like the really wise old man who's like the master, and he's actually only like 65, but like you just get super old suddenly. So like you look super young, and then you become like super old because that happened with my dad. I went home one Christmas, and I was like, whoa, he like got his hair turned completely white, and he kind of started shrinking. So one day somebody will see me at a show, and they'll be like, oh, you look like this guy, no, but he's way younger, and I'm like, no, that's me. I just did the plus 20 aging thing.
So you'll go from like black and blue hair to like silver and blue hair in like one month?
Yeah, basically. It'll look like I got scared or something.
That would be kind of awesome. Yeah, I think, too, living in San Francisco probably keeps you young. That's just I think this city, Amsterdam, does that, too, to people, because there's a lot of... I meet people all the time who are, like, 50, but they're, like, out partying and living life, and I'm like, whoa, I'm tired. That's good. So I wanted to jump back to something we're talking about, earning money on games on location, because I love location pinball, and I've been playing a bunch the last year, and it's been almost a good thing that I was living in places here where I couldn't have pinball because it forced me to get out of my cocoon of work, sleep, and just go play pinball. You have some game, at least a game, I think, en route. And you told me what it was making, and we don't need to get into the numbers or anything, but it was like pretty good, like for an older game, quote older game. I was actually pretty impressed that hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting because like I've been fascinated with the whole operating side ever since I got back into pinball because I mostly play on location. People in the city don't really have big collections at home because to have a home that can fit more than one pinball machine, think about the rent. It's like you have to be pretty rich to have a place big enough to actually have more than a few machines. So in the city proper, where I mostly am, not a lot of everything's kind of location play. So I've always been like and when the selfie leagues and things, started up, we're like, we want to support the operators who put out machines that they maintain really well. And so, I have 3 machines on location. I think I have the Iron Man at Frigo Watch. I have the Big Lebowski at Alamo, and the America's Most Haunted at a barbershop, and TNA at a new pinball bar restaurant kind of place. And the earnings are pretty interesting because I also have known one of the other operators' earnings just because. And there's been a nice growth. You can actually make decent money. I don't know about make a living from it per se. I mean, you could, I think, if you operate enough machines, but yeah, my Lebowski's already earned more than I paid for it. Not, my cut portion is still not quite there, but as a whole, we have a really good, split there too. So it'll pay for itself pretty soon. And so it's nice to know that you could actually, have a machine out, and it can pay for itself within a couple of years. And then, then the residual value of most machines is pretty high. So it's kind of nice that way for the operators, because then I know they don't mind getting the newest machines and putting them out or buying older ones. The funny thing now is everybody here wants a Mustang, and nobody has one because they didn't buy it when it came out. So
slow down. Why does everybody want a Mustang?
Well, the tournament players like myself do, because it's a fun game actually, and it's fun, but no one got them. There wasn't. I don't know how many they sold of those. I feel like there wasn't a ton of them.
I think they sold at least 14 of them.
Yeah. So it's like where is one? Because it's actually a fun game, but just no one's got it. So, and that's another reason. You know how when you go to Pinburg, you're like, oh man, I'm playing all these games that I either saw and never played because it didn't look that fun or whatever, and now you're like, I want to play those games so I have some sort of familiarity in case I play them at Pinburg. So I think that kind of aspect. I think that's the thing. People always talk about tournament play that's boring or whatever, but when you play tournaments, it makes you appreciate every game because sometimes you have to play every game. So then you're like, okay, I'm going to play this game that I generally don't like. And then sometimes you discover that you might actually like it, because sometimes I just don't play a game based on theme because there's other games that I already know that I like. I'll play these and I don't know how to play that other game. So then when you get it in a tournament or, you're like, oh, that was actually fun, or I liked it even though I didn't know what I was doing. So maybe I can learn it. So we're always looking for more of the obscure games, because certain games you just find everywhere. You can find Medieval and Attack and Theater and all those games all the time. So we're always telling our operators hey, can you bring in those weird Gottliebs or something, the ones that are actually good, not some of them are just purely terrible, but most of them are kind of fun in some way. And if you have a location that has enough machines, they can kind of have that, a few of those oddballs. So,
I think I said that in my last episode. I think I said exactly that. I agree. There's lots of games that, because of the classics or even just Pinburg, I'm like, oh man, I didn't know I liked this game so much, whatever it might be, So you're talking about Mustang. Funny enough, as I go through these listings for machines around here, somebody has a WWE WrestleMania for sale. And I was seriously hovering on it the other day thinking, let's see. Because I'm not totally offended by pro wrestling. Some people are just pro wrestling, non-starter. I don't want fake fighters on my pinball machine. I'm not into it. It's a bunch of idiots. I have a soft spot for pro wrestling. I think Ric Flair is kind of the greatest person to ever live. So I know Ric Flair's not in the game, but whatever. So I was staring at the game, and it was way cheap, under $3,000.
Wow.
I know, for a modern Stern game, and I'm still man. So I do get that, because it is a modern game. And I thought the code actually kind of went somewhere eventually with that game. And most people probably don't know because nobody bought the game.
Yeah, that's what I heard is the most recent code rev is actually, much more interesting. The main caveat I think everybody says is you end up getting up top too long or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's not as pinball-y or whatever. But I remember, it was somewhere where I had to play it in a tournament, and I was like, I don't hate this. I don't love it or anything, but it's not, I feel like it's not as bad, but once people get this reputation on the machine, I think it just kind of sticks, and people just kind of, are that game just sucks, and they don't know that, maybe it's better now or something.
I still don't like the flipper gap. I still don't like the upright slings. And what really made me close the window when I opened, because I would just go and open up every window of every game for sale within 100 miles. And I closed that window when I thought about the darn ring and getting the ball up in that ring, and how that's tedious. It's just annoying after a while. It's interesting when a game has a central toy or a central thing that sort of part defines the game and also drags it down from being, I think, like a lasting great game that I'd want to own in my home. Because, like, I agree, all pinball's great pinball. You give me a WrestleMania, give me a Mustang, I'm happy forever. But when I have my choice, I may not want to pick whatever it might be. I'm actually worried about Munsters because I don't know if I want the under playfield mini pinball game. I don't know if I'm going to like that or not. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the challenge. Like, it was interesting when I was watching some kind of like casual people playing the Lebowski pinball when we were running a tournament on Saturday, and there were some casuals that were there, and they were just kind of playing that, and they're like, and then this one girl's like, "Oh man, I want to get the pinball down there," and the other guy's like, "I don't think it goes down there to the bowling alley below." And so since I just overheard it, I usually don't like to like explain stuff to people unless they look like they want to know. And so one of the other guys was like, "Oh, that's his machine." So then they were like, "Oh," and then so at that point I was like, "Oh yeah, you can get it there, but the easiest way is when do the super skill shot, hold the right flipper in, and shoot this blah blah blah." And so like then they were like all about that. They're like, "Oh, I'm gonna play it until I can get the bowling," So and the bowling's fine because it just lasts at most 2 rolls, so it's not like you spend too much time in it. But I agree that some games, like with WrestleMania, I think that is the main thing is like you got to go up there a lot, and then you're just up there a lot, and it can just kind of slow things down and not feel as pinball-y or whatever.
If this show did like top 10 lists, I would implore everyone to send me their suggestions for games with the most annoying gimmick, but we don't do that, so don't send those emails. I felt like that whole story was just you humble bragging to me again how approachable and nice you are, and you can meet strangers and they don't think you're a creep. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, so you went to It Never Drains in Southern California. Southern California?
Yes.
In Disc, Southern California. In Disc. Yep. So run by 2 of the nicest guys in all of pinball, Carl and Jim. Talk to me about Indisc 2019. What was that like? I went to them years ago. I haven't been to one in a while.
Yeah, so people are, we're talking about how maybe Indisc should be a major, and I think it should be for a lot of reasons. The quality of the tournament, the quality of the player base that comes out for it, the facility and the setup is just amazing. And like this year, it was had that whole Papa West vibe because it did the ticket system, which a lot of people had never done that, and a lot of people had, and so it was the first time in a while for like a big kind of
Papa
one of these
scoring,
yeah, and so people were and when like you said, Jim and Carl always put together a really great show. They're really high level players, so they really understand how to tweak machines to make them fair for players and still fun. Because sometimes you go to a tournament and like tilts are ridiculous, or the game is just set up so murderously hard that it's like barely fun to play. But they do a really good job of making the games playable, where they're still fun. Like the Iron Man they had, because it's one of my favorite games, was basically like a stock Iron Man. Like you don't really need to make Iron Man harder. It's kind of like already hard. So just clean it up, wax it, and have everything's like fresh flippers and everything. It's pretty much going to beat you up. And they so they had a safecracker in there, which like I basically play at shows to try to get the coin, but I actually have no idea how to play it for score. So that was interesting to see what people did to play that game. Something you don't see in tournaments. But they did a really, really good job of curating, the game list. They always put in a bunch of weird games, or what most people would probably consider weird games that you generally don't see at big name tournaments, because a lot of times you do see a lot of the same games. And then they also had this year was like really great because there was 2 different classics tournaments. There was the main. There was a B division as well for the main bank. There was a separate women's bank and a separate the kids and women's bank was the same, but they had I guess 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 5 tournaments, and then the B division. So kind of like you could play in basically 5, and then they had the high stakes bank, which is its own separate bank. And so there was a lot of options for people to play.
Well, tell me about the high stakes. How much was the high stakes bank?
So the high stakes bank was $50 for a ticket, which was I think 4 of the 5 games you had to play. So essentially, $12.50 a game. And Paragon was one of them. I think somebody was joking about the kind of like cost per ball or play time is pretty much that's the most expensive game of pinball ever played. Is like somebody had a terrible game on Paragon. And but like the Paragon was just kind of set up stock. You don't really need to make Paragon harder. But they had, so the prize pool for that was based on the money of the people that played the high stakes tourney. And so they also had like a thing like for $100 you got I think 2 main tournament entries or 2 that you could use for either classics or main. And then 1 high stakes. I think somehow it was like a deal, so you got like $20 worth of free gaming if you bought the $100, like overall package or whatever.
Who won the high stakes tournament?
I think Jason Werdrick won it, and obviously a lot of great players played in it because but I was surprised how many people that probably didn't really have a good chance of winning when like Kaylee and
dead
Keith
money,
and
dead money.
Yeah, but it's also like I didn't get the $100 package because I ended up not. Like I didn't need to rebuy enough that I would have done that if I needed to buy like more tickets. But because a lot of my friends did that, they got the $100 thing because you're kind of saving $20. So then it's like your high stakes entry is essentially $30, which isn't so bad. And it's kind of fun to try. You're like on a ticket, you could, especially with Paragon in there, like if you have a good Paragon game, maybe that'll help get you in. But yeah, there was a lot more people that played in it. And I think they said, Jim and Carl said they thought they were surprised. They weren't surprised, but there was more interest in it than they thought there might be. Like, because people are like $50 to play 4 games. That and when people think of these tournaments, they think of how hard the machines might be set up. But again, they don't really set them up to like to be mean, like unnecessarily mean. They're trying to make them fair, but not take forever to play. So
I love that concept. I think that's awesome. I'm fascinated by that. We've talked about that at shows before. Said like, why don't we have like a $500 buy-in tournament for all the best players? Because they'll probably do it.
Yeah, and there was definitely. I think a lot of people had fun with it too, because like I saw some person doing it like early, and I was like, man, she must be super good, and I just don't know who she is. And then I was scorekeeping, and she's like, I don't even know why I did this. I'm not very good. And I was like, well, was it fun? She's like, yeah, and there's no lines over here because like there was definitely like never really a line on the high stakes bank compared to the other banks.
So what you just told me again is strange person you didn't know opened up and talked to you out in the wild about pinball. Okay, I see.
No, I was.
No, I get. Scorekeeper. I see. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. That's fine. No. I remember at Indisc like 2014, 15, one of those years, they had a teed off game, which is also a game you don't see in all the tournaments, and they had the ball return on the right rigged so that it just like dropped like 3 inches farther back than it normally would. And so your eyes would deceive you because I think the wire returns ran towards the end, but the ball came out fast and quicker than that, and it was absolutely brutal.
The one of the games that people really liked the most changed game probably was in Classics Bank was Kings of Steel, which is a game I don't really know, but it has like people call it like Kings of the Right Target or something because basically in the normal non adjusted version, you just shoot the stand up on the right. There's like a lane that all you would do is shoot that all day, I guess, and that's kind of how you play that game normally. So everybody knew, it being Jim and Carl being the main guys for Indus, that it would be set up, in a way that would make it not that. And he actually put like a one-way gate, so if you shot it into that shot, it would go into the plunger lane. And like people that I didn't actually play that in the Classics Bank because I just didn't really know it. But everybody said like that was really a great way to set it up. Phil Birnbaum, he's great at the Classics. He was like loving it and just playing it over and over after the tournament ended. When those games became got onto free play, he was just like playing it over and over. And it was neat that they're able to do that because that's like you said, like with T-Dot, they always find a way to make it playable for everyone. They had a party zone too, and they had used it previously where he made it so if you hit the left ramp, it diverts and doesn't come back to the flipper, so it puts it a little bit in danger. So you don't just shoot the left ramp all day, and little things like that kind of don't completely bastardize the game, but make it more fun for everyone. And then it's interesting because people are all like, "Oh, I want to do this." Now maybe Knights of Steel will be like a popular game because people will all do this mod. Kings of Steel. That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Knights of Steel is the next Pat Lawler original theme coming out from Jersey Tech 2020.
Yeah, sorry for dropping that accidentally.
I'm kidding. Pinside thread, quick, go. No, I'm just kidding. So how'd you do in the tournament? How did you play?
I played about where I thought I would. I've been playing pretty poorly for like the last month and a half, like consistently poorly, which is like super annoying. But so I was kind of like, oh man, we'll see how this goes. And I basically kind of played to where my skill level is. Like, on that format, you can definitely, like, people always are like afraid of that format because they say it's harder because of the ticket. You have to put together this many games. But I'm like, really every format's not really harder per se. It's just like it is more challenging, but it's equally more challenging for everyone. So it's not that it's technically harder. It's just like, like on a herb style, you could just grind away at each game in a row until you get a good score or something. But that's also challenging. And but putting it together is also, everybody else has to do the same thing. So if you have a good run, like I had one where I had like 2 or 3 good ones, and then of course bombed the last 2, and I was just like, man, all I had to do was not screw these up that bad. But I think I ended up in like 40 something, 40th or something, 44th. I'm not sure. It might have dropped a little more. But yeah, because like with a ticket also, you can only, I'm not one of those people. Some people that are very aggressive would burn a ticket after, if they had started off on a bad game, they might just burn it immediately.
Oh yeah, I've seen A division players do that at Papa, like one bad game and just kill it. Yeah. Yeah,
because there's a time factor, because even if you play through a ticket, at some point you might know that this ticket is dead, but I'm like, well, I'd just rather play it because if the timing gets really tight and I think I've got a chance, I might do that. Like I had a friend who did that. He was like, I'm going to play this game on this ticket's kind of dead because I already screwed it up after like 2 games, but I'm going to play my 3rd game on Baywatch, and then I start my fresh ticket on Baywatch, so I would have just played it, and have a good feel for it.
Yep.
And then of course he had like a better game on the pre-ticket game, which on the dead ticket, which then makes you feel like, oh man, I should have just started the new ticket. But
yeah,
but that's how it goes in tournaments.
How is the Museum of Pinball in Banning, California looking in 2019?
Oh, so yeah, I think people heard different reports from when the first, because they're not open a lot. They're only open like 2 or 3 times a year.
Yep.
And remember, I think the first year, a lot of the, games weren't really up and running, which is like, I don't know, remember the number, like 600 or 700 machines there.
That's a lot of games.
And that's a lot to keep up. And even though they're not getting played that often, sometimes when things don't get played, you don't know what's not working as well. So, but they had a lot. Most of the games were working like a much larger percentage than any other time I visited. So they keep improving on, the techs working on the machines and everything. So a lot of stuff is working. They had a lot of new rare. It's funny because like they basically get everything. So like there's some of these games that you kind of never see, and you're like, oh, they had the whole spooky lineup of every single game that they have made, including Dominoes and Jetsons, and so that was kind of neat to see.
That's cool.
The whole lineup there, and they had had Thunderbirds. Like a friend of mine was. He was like, I think Jetsons is worse than Thunderbirds. I'm like, no way, man. So we played both, and he was like, yeah, you're right. Thunderbirds is definitely not as fun, but it was cool to see like all these. They have a lot of weird games there and a lot of rare ones. Like somebody was trying to see if they could tap pass on Hercules because they have Hercules, and it's a really great collection. And as usual, when you go to these pinball shows, a lot of times you see all the people playing the modern DMDs and all these like. Weird games that are solid state and older are not getting played. And so that's perfect for me because I love those weird games and the ones that I haven't seen as much. So a lot of our friends, we had so much fun playing, the weirdo games that you just don't see. Like I like Defender because it has a manual kickback. And it's not a game you see too often, so they have a lot of rare stuff there. So it's really fun to.
It's an amazing collection, and hats off to all the people who are out there. I know a lot of people go out there and volunteer leading up to these events, trying to get these games in better shape and running. So I think that's great that people spend their time doing that. It is a cool collection. It's an odd thing. It's really strange. I've met all those people that work there. There's some really nice, great people. But it's just strange that this guy has this giant collection and he has this giant building out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, Southern California is not in the middle of nowhere, but it's out there to ways. But it's cool. I'm glad it's there. I'm super glad it's there. I keep wanting my work trips to line up, and next year the NAMM show that we do in Southern California in January is actually a week earlier. So I'm hoping that I'll be out there the week before and I can go play at Indisc if they do it that same weekend. So.
Yeah, Indisc is one of my favorite tournaments of the of the big kind of show / tournaments. I do more of the tournaments than the shows, but like the show part of it it's not really a show. It's basically we have 600 other pinball machines. Why don't you enjoy them as well? I mean, I got to play a Primus there because like I didn't think I'd ever see a Primus. I mean, it's the same as Wonelli and Can Crusher, but it was cool to see. It's
not the same, man. It's not the same. It's Primus.
Yeah, it is. I do like that one because it's pretty funny. It's the call outs and the music and everything. I think they upgraded the speakers too. So
that's good. I have a soft spot for Primus. I was never a huge Primus fan, but like I definitely could admire the talent of Les Claymore and Les Claypool. Claymore. Oh, see, there's my Les Claypool. Amazing talent, and definitely Now I think it's a cool, fun, weird theme for pinball. I think that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so Houdini. I bagged on Houdini, apparently. I don't even remember saying it last show, and I got the hate mail. Oh, the hate mail comes out when you say anything bad about anything. So I was in San Diego 2 weeks ago, a week ago, sometime after the NAMM show, and I had an afternoon off on a Sunday, and I went to a place that had a Houdini, and I played it a bunch more, because I thought, you know what, I need to give this game, like, another shot. I need to make this thing, like, you know, prove itself, because I got some mail telling me how great it is and how I don't know anything about pinball. And it's okay.
Yeah, I agree. I think the same complaints that most people have with the shots kind of being tight and everything being kind of up in your face, you know, like a lot of the entry points are pretty low down. It's kind of, you know, when you're missing, it's just kind of flying back at you really quickly. So,
you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of if I had grown up playing Theater of Magic, and then I didn't see a Theater of Magic for like 25 years, and somebody said, hey, design a game like that one you used to play. And I was like, oh, okay. And I just sort of drew my game the way I remembered it. That's what Houdini feels like to me. I don't know. It's okay. It looks good. I think it looks really cool. I think some of the call-outs are really good, but...
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of good elements to it. I just feel like I think maybe you said that the same thing. If there was like one less shot and you could open everything up just a little bit.
Oh man, I hope I said that. I don't think I said that, Gene. That was probably another podcast, but I hope I did say that because that sounds smart.
Yeah,
I would like to have that credited to me. So it was probably Taylor, somebody smarter than me, but that's okay. Yeah. What else is going on? Tell me something else amazing, Gene. Where clock is ticking. We're running out of time here.
What else is amazing? Well, our tournament scene here is been doing really well and kind of growing. We got a lot of new blood. We have team leagues, so a lot of the location play is happening. We're all excited because the Alamo Draft House, you know, agreed to let us bring in some more machines there. So I think some of the players have been lobbying for like a lot of those oddballs. I think what Deadly Weapon, is that one of those?
Yep, that's
weird
what that. Yeah,
Gottlieb's.
Yep.
Yeah, somebody's wanting that. I kind of want a Bad Girls because I heard Bad Girls is basically just 8-Ball Deluxe but reversed, which sounds fun, and the backlash looks amazing. But yeah, it's mostly just like growing the location scene out here. I'm actually the IFPA Northern California representative now. I just started doing that, so now I feel even more like my mission is to get more people to play pinball, you know, out or anywhere really. But we've got a lot of good locations, so my focus kind of this year is more on that. I'm kind of being focused, you know, like I used to want to I still want to be as good of a player as I can for the tournament play and stuff, but I'm almost more interested in just kind of growing the scene and trying to get new people involved. Coin Op Game Room has, you know, there's a one in San Francisco. The guys there want to do some beginner friendly stuff and try to, you know, tap into that. And I'm all about that because that, you know, it's kind of like the drug dealer, you know, they want to get like, you know, how like when you introduce someone to pinball and they get really into it and it's kind of awesome because then you have one more new friend to play with.
Yeah, just like drugs.
You know, like, yeah, well, yeah,
Wait,
maybe
no.
that was a bad analogy.
Oh, that's good. That's funny. See, you're such a good guy. So I remember, I'm just going to wrap this up by going back to this because I'm thinking a lot about the show lately because it's hard to get these shows done, and I thank you so much for coming on. Dude, I remember listening to the Pinball Podcast, the original Pinball Podcast, Don and Jeff, and you like sending in your like recorded interviews and how awesome that was because you were so, dude, we were so into it. Like we were like, I want to talk about pinball with somebody. And
that was funny because I had no idea. I mean, they were like super OG podcasts, you know.
Oh yeah.
I was just like, oh, maybe this is some way I can contribute to the you know the hobby that I have so much passion for. So it was kind of fun too. Like I remember, I forget who I had talked. I did a few of those interviews. Those are fun.
It was cool. I think that's where I got to know you first was on their show, and then we just started talking and hanging out occasionally. And I'm glad we still get to do it. It was cool to see you in January. I wish I could be out there more.
Yeah, are you going to do Pinburg?
If I can get in, I mean, you know,
right.
yeah, of course, and probably, honestly, even from the Netherlands, even if I'm waitlisted, I will probably still just go because you know what's the worst? What's the worst that could happen? I go and I don't get in, and I have to play a bunch of pinball and you know, eat steak sandwiches and like no, it's fine. I'll be right.
Yeah, it's so fun to see everybody at Pinburg because basically everybody's there. I mean, it's such a huge tournament.
Yeah, and everybody likes you, so I bet it is fun. I'm just kidding. Are you going to Pin Masters?
No, I am not right now. I didn't get in. I know the tickets. I heard a lot of spots opened up because a lot of people that thought they would win their state, preemptively got them when they first got released. But I got a work shoot that weekend, unfortunately. So
gotcha. Okay. Well, I will be going to that. So there's some organized pinball in my near future. Well, anyway, Gene X Wong, thank you so much for coming on Coast to Coast Pinball, and thanks for chatting.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, we'll do it again soon.
All right, have fun.